Hello, welcome to episode 3 of the PowerShell Jumpstart series. This time we'll go through a quick overview of some commandlets and the pipe operator. So the purpose of this is to get familiar with some basic commandlets that we will use later on, and also to cover some basics to get you curious and to explore and get you going. So first commandlet, that should be get command. This, if you run it as is, will get you a full list of the commands available here in PowerShell within this machine. Notice there are 3 command types here. We have commandlet, alias, and function. So a nice thing about commandlets is that you have access to some of their parameters and properties. So here I will choose, for example, command type, and I want to get just the commandlet type, and it will give me just that, just the commandlet types. If I did the same but replace that with function, it will give me the functions. Okay, so let's say you wanted to have a little more information about this commandlet, then the one you should use, and remember a lot, is get help. This will give you more information from any commandlet available, like the description, syntax, and even sometimes some examples. So let's take a look at the get command again, and it will tell us that gets all the commands that are installed on the computer, and so on and so on. This really comes in handy when you want to get familiar with the commandlets, or need some information on the exact syntax that you will have to use and all that. So let's use get help again to get more information on the next commandlet, which is test connection. I used this some examples already. So basically what get connection does is run a ping against multiple remote devices, and let you know if they return the response. So let's go ahead and give it a shot. Test connection. I will run test connection. You don't have to choose the parameter here. You can leave it blank, but for the sake of thoroughness, you should use them. It doesn't have to be a computer. It can be a website or network device, and many other things like an IP address that belongs to another device, whatever. So let's do google.com. Right away you will see this behaves just like a ping test. However, the nice thing about test connection is that it's much more robust and you have a lot more options, and it returns back objects. We will go into objects more in detail in the future. For now, let's look at the some simple parameters you can use. So let's say I just wanted a quick check, just do a single packet. There you go. And another nice feature is that you can get back Boolean true false values. This really comes in handy when you want to see if a device is reachable before running a script or running some tests. Also for discovering. So if I wanted to do that with something that doesn't exist, let's do test connection to fake server dot fake domain dot fake. Let's do just one packet, and let's do it quiet. This should return a false value. Might take a little bit longer than the previous test, because that's how it goes for networks like the one where I am at. So there you go. All right, so let's take a look at get process now. Get process, as the name implies, will get you the processes running on your local machine. So that's a lot of things it's running. It can also get you the processes from remote machines. You can specify here the computer name. I'll do a local machine here. A machine in the same network. and it will get me the processes from that particular machine. Not only that, but you can actually look for a particular process. So let's do name, and let's do Explorer, for example, and it's running. We have the IDs right there. Okay, I'll take this chance to introduce you to the pipeline operator as well, and the select object commandlet. So what the pipeline operator does, that's one, is to get the results from the previous commandlet, and it will forward them to the next one to for further processing. So we can select particular, objects from the previous commandlet, or we can output the results to a file, or do a lot of things with this. So let's do get process again. And remember how it had the name and ID? So what I will do is select object. So again, I will forward the results from get process to this commandlet, and select object will allow me to choose a couple of properties. So let's choose name, and it will give me just the names without all the other details. I can also do the same and add ID, and it will give me these ID properties as well. So let's do another example. Let's say I wanted to forward this to a text file. I will use, in this case, the out file commandlet. I will forward this to ctemp, and I will forward this to a file named testresults.txt. Okay, so start ctemp, and the test results file is right there, and it output the output from a get process to a text file. So that's what we wanted. That's what it did. So that's a very simple example on how to use a pipeline, and an introduction to those two commandlets, out file and select object. Okay, there's a few more commandlets I want you to look at. First one would be write host. So let's jump back to the script pane. Write host. It will do as it says. It will send some text to the console. So this is some text, and that's what it will do. There are some nice parameters here. For example, foreground color will let you choose a particular color for your text. You can even add some background color for this, so let's go black. So there are some more nice things you can do with this. If you notice, every time you write, you send the right host message with with this script, it will actually give you a new line. So if you use the no new line parameter there, it will allow you to display the text on the same line. So let's do background color green. Let's just copy this, do it here, and let's do this. Okay. So it will display it on the same line. So play around with the parameters you have there. Okay, another commandlet that really comes in handy is write output. At first instance, it seems as if it does the same as write host, because it will display the text on the console as well. However, and here's where it gets interesting, it also sends the output out of the console. So if you wanted to forward that to a bunch of results out to a particular text file, you can do that. To prove this, I will wrap this inside a function. Functions are easy to create. Function we will name our function as output test, and we will wrap this in curly braces. Okay, so whatever goes on inside the braces will be held here within this function. Okay, I'll go ahead and run it. And yep, it did go out to the console. Now what I can do is use my pipeline again, out file. I will send this out to ctemp test output.txt. I will use a couple of parameters here. Append will make sure the information gets added to the to whatever was added previously to this text file, so it doesn't get overwritten. And I will use force as well, in case file is open or whatever, it won't. It will just push the results there on the file. So we'll start ctemp again, and we have test output. So if I run this again, the information will get appended. It means it didn't get overwritten, just gets added. If I wanted to get that overwritten, I can just remove append. Oops, that's not the one. And it got overwritten with whatever is there. Okay, there's one last command that I want you to look at, because it will come really in handy, and that's a get content commandlet. So what get content does, it gets a content from a file. So here I had actually a couple of examples we could use. Let's look at my first script. So here I have a host list with some hosts and a test file with the classic lorem ipsum text. And what I will do is get the content from those files. If I run this, it will get me the content from that text file. So let me change these now to so you can display the contents of a particular file. This will come in handy for running a script against multiple servers later on, as you will see later. For now, that is it. Thank you.